Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 9 of season 5 of the F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend out ready for the Canadian Grand Prix. If you missed out on the last video from Azerbaijan, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out as well. You know, a lot of exciting things did happen over the course of that race. I'll try not to leave too many spoilers at the start of this video, but yeah, of course we will jump in just a moment there. But yeah, a big thank you for the continued support on the channel as well. If you are new around here though and you do go on to enjoy, make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well. But yeah, last time out though, yeah, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix then, we were able to take home our 5th race victory of the season there. 3 in a row, Spain, Monaco and Azerbaijan. You know, we've been incredibly quick early on this World Championship there. Max Verstappen came through for P2. Pierre Gasly, he should have won that race, though. Plain and simple, Pierre Gasly should have won that one. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite the way it worked out in the end. AlphaTauri making a huge strategy blunder right towards the end of the day there. Left him down in P3. But yeah, top 4 in the championship even, I should say, finished in their order there. As you can see, George Russell there just ahead of Albon, Ocon, Kvyat, Perez, Norris and Bottas still way down the order there, despite having his Mercedes car there. And 3 fastest laps to his name as well. But yeah, this weekend though we head to Canada, obviously as well. If you missed out the McLaren RTG video that went live a couple of days ago, you will not have seen. We've got a new rim as well for the rig. So yeah, very much looking forward to diving into this. Let's head though here to the Canadian Grand Prix. Here we are then, qualifying day for the Canadian Grand Prix then, and if Q1 is anything to go by, things could get rather interesting this weekend. Racing points seem to be pretty quick. AlphaTauri is always very good on the 1-lap pace as well here, but Max Verstappen, of course, did still end up the fastest man in Q1, struggling just to get to grooves. As you can just see there, through the first couple of corners, seems to certainly be struggling a bit through Sector 1 relative to the AI, but hopefully we can keep it clean and tidy and try and obviously at least get through into Q3 first of all. Although, saying that, I mean, we know the run of form we had early on this season by not making it through into Q3. But yeah, let's just wait and see. Though we, like always, got out on the mediums for our first run. Really try and chuck it over the curbs as much as possible. But yeah, so far so good. Down in towards the final chicane, then we probably want to be looking at a low 107 on this run there. Really try and take as much curve as you dare through the final corner. I keep clicking the radio rather than the DRS bind at the final corner, but a 106.9 leaves us a 10th off Gasly and down in 11th place. Not quite where we need to be at the moment. I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if we needed to do a soft run, but yeah, pretty close. We have only got a minute and a half left on the clock, but hopefully yeah, we should be able to get down comfortably in sort of a mid 106 on this second run. Try and get ourselves right towards the front of the order. Obviously last time round we did take home our 2nd pole position of the season. A lot of them tend to come in a bit of interesting circumstances, but nice to know we've still got the 1-lap pace. But I mean, there's no points awarded on Saturday. Good run through the first couple of corners though, already 2 tenths up. Heading out of the hairpin there, you can see we're 6 tenths up on our previous lap, so we could be looking close to a 105 in Q3 there if we get a lap absolutely nailed. Down in towards the final chicane though, keep it clean and tidy, that's always the aim. That was a pretty good run. We remember actually to use the DRS, not the radio this time around. It's going to be a 106.2 fastest at the end of our Q2 runs there. Russell on the mediums though, P2, fair play to him. So there we go, end of Q2, and it was only a 1,000th of a second between myself and George Russell there, but a mega lap from the Mercedes man on his medium tyres there. Both AlphaTauris on row 2 effectively at the end of Q2 there. And yeah, you can see both Mercedes, both of our cars, both AlphaTauris, Red Bull looking incredibly quick this weekend as well. They're on both racing points sneaking through into Q3 there. Very close at the end there. 4.5 tenths, well, half a second making up the top 11 there at the end of qualifying. You can see, yeah, both McLarens, Ferraris and Renaults out in Q2. So, yeah, a lot of teams 2x2 at the moment, but let's dive into Q3. Right, here we go then. First run in Q3. Try and set ourselves up for the best run at the final corner. Again, clicking the wrong button there. GG's, man. I might have to change my binds ready for this wheel. But yeah, hopefully we can just set a good banker lap. Try and get sort of a mid-6 if possible. Maybe a low 6 if we get absolutely everything hooked up here. But yeah, intrigued to see what everyone else is going to be able to do at the end of qualifying. They're really close to the wall as we head through the first... Is it the first chicane or is it the second chicane? Never really know if turn 1 and 2 count as a chicane or not. Whatever though, I absolutely love this track. Such a fun track to come back to every year on the Formula 1 calendar as well. I think, I don't know, I really love this place, but I think a lot of people only like it because of 2011. It's just a brilliant style circuit. Proper old school stuff as well here, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. But anyway, out of the hairpin. Nice and tidy. Avoid the wheel spin on the exit of the corner there. Once again, activating the DRS as you head down in towards the final couple of corners of the lap, in towards the Wall of Champions chicane. Are we going to be able to keep it clean and tidy? Brake just after the 100 board. Ooh, a lot of curve both on the way in and the way out there, but we do get a nice tidy run up towards the line. It's going to be a 106.7. So not a particularly great first lap, but we've got a lot to build on. To start our final lap then in Q3, you can see we're all the way down to P9 at the moment, so we're really going to have to try and nail this lap. Make sure, again, that we click the right buttons for the DRS. We absolutely need to remember that. If we can find sort of 3-4 tenths, we should be able to find ourselves right towards the front of the field. Still a lot of people bunched up sort of around the 106.3s, 106.4s. But yeah, we just need to try and keep it nice, clean and tidy as we head through the first chicane again, really chucking it in on the entry there. Valtteri Bottas, I think that is, down into the 105s though. That is a phenomenally quick lap time coming in from Mercedes. You know, they're still putting a lot of upgrades on the car at the moment, and they're finally maybe starting to see some pace re-emerging from the Brackley-based team there, down through the next chicane. Again, pretty nice and tidy. They're 4 tenths up at the moment as George Russell, a 105.8. Where have the sandbags been left by Mercedes right at the end of qualifying here for the Canadian Grand Prix? I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that unless we absolutely nail the final chicane here. Just nicking the grass on the way out of the hairpin is not going to help us as we head down in towards the final chicane one last time. Make sure we keep it clean, keep it tidy. Brake again, just the 75-metre board there, down into third on the way back out. Short shifting up, we're only 3 tenths up. This isn't going to be a particularly brilliant lap. And P6 on the grid is not where we wanted to finish up here in Canada. But a long race ahead of us. You can, yeah, it's not the hardest track to overtake at as well. We'll have to get on with it.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Russell, Bottas and Pierre Gasly. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So there we go then, a very interesting qualifying session there, and for the first, well, no, the second time this season, if I'm not mistaken, that it hasn't been a 2-2 Motorsport car that set the fastest time there. I think Australia was the only other time that we didn't go fastest there, and that was, again, courtesy of George Russell there. But yeah, 5th and 6th on the grid, though. Clearly don't quite have the package that I thought we did heading into this weekend. Clearly some big upgrades coming in from other teams as well, so we do need to be careful that we don't fall back into the pack here over the next couple of races. But Gasly in third, Stroll in fourth, they're ahead of ourselves. Albon, Perez, Kvyat and Hamilton round out your top 10. This thing's going to be interesting. Russell on the pole on his mediums as well, remember. Let's dive in then here to the Canadian Grand Prix.
Bonjour! It's time once again to go racing here in Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world, and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles an hour here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions. And watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and the final chicane. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen? As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. George Russell did very well in qualifying yesterday and will start today's race from pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Stroll, Mr. Monaco and Albon. Perez, Kvyat, Hamilton, and Carlos Sainz. Leclerc, Joe, Esteban Ocon, and Verstappen. They've taken a grid penalty. Raikkonen, Magnussen, Nick de Vries, and Jordan King. Giovinazzi, Latifi, Norris, and Nobuharu Matsushita. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So here we are then, ready on the grid for round 9 of the season here at the Canadian Grand Prix. And a couple of big penalties then, coming in for Max Verstappen and Lando Norris there. Our teammate from this series and our teammate from a McLaren RTG. Both getting penalties ready for this weekend. But strategy around here is always a bit weird and wonderful. It's going to be a 2-stop race. We're going to go quite aggressive under on fuel. And we're going to try and go soft, medium, soft perhaps? Yeah, the game does reckon it's possible. So we'll wait and see as to how that goes. Yeah, we'll pit, say, lap 9, lap 25, and then obviously go to the end. Yeah, so it is going to make things very, very interesting this weekend. If George Russell believes he can one-stop, that can make things quite spicy as well here. But let's dive in then. I just want to get right into it here for the Canadian Grand Prix. P5 starting on the grid. We've got Stroll, Gasly, and both Mercs in front of us. We're waiting on those 5 red lights. And it's the lights out, and away we go for the Canadian Grand Prix. A lot of wheel spin as we try to slot down in towards turn 1. We got Perez trying to look up the inside there, but luckily can't quite make anything work as homeboy Stroll trying to look around the outside of Gasly through the first couple of corners there, and I think he's been able to pull that off. A brilliant move by Stroll, I say that, as Gasly goes and does the same to him again, in towards the next corner there. So a brilliant move done by Stroll, followed by a brilliant move done by Gasly to get back around in there. But yeah, through the first couple of corners, though, struggling just to get the tyres up to temperature at the start of this Grand Prix. Obviously, you've got to remember to use the overtake mode as much as possible as well around here. You know, with this car is so good on things like, oh god! And that's not what we needed at the start of this Grand Prix. A massive crash with Alexander Albon there, as we've got a safety car. We've got a virtual safety car. So Hamilton's in front of us. Hamilton's just going to turn in on me. It's all kicked off at the start of the Canadian Grand Prix. What are we meant to do? Hamilton's turned in on me through the chicane there, through the hairpin. And I mean, we're going to have to pit the end of that one here onto a new set of medium tyres. Yeah, we're going to need a new front wing as well. Obviously, Albon's going to have to dive it in as well. And, oh, we'll be able to serve the penalty now, despite being under VSC. 100% sure how that works, but not the start to the Canadian Grand Prix that either myself or Albon needed there. Albon was just the wrong place at the wrong time. But yeah, we just, you know, bottomed out over that curb. And unfortunately, yeah, it has really, really cost us here at Canada. Albon's obviously going to be out ahead of us once again. But a long way off the rear of the field now. I think this race is pretty much instantly become a case of damage limitation there. 13.5 second stop as we get ready to start lap 2 here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Now we need to get our head down and focus.
We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
So I guess the focus then in this Canadian Grand Prix is very quickly changed from trying to continue on the podium spree to just trying to get some points on the board here, or just waiting for a safety car. Maybe, you know, we should still be able to get up towards the points, I would have thought, by the end of this one. But Albon in front of us on the softs. Gap staying fairly level to the Red Bull, but you can see, yeah, Norris, Matsushita and Giovinazzi further up the road. Hopefully we'll be able to take some big time out of those guys before they pit, and then we'll get a big undercut on them. Another new fastest lap, though, here in the Canadian Grand Prix. And I don't know if these are the mediums that we used on our one qualifying lap, or whether they're a new set. Whatever they are, they feel brilliant. Oh, we got yellow flags out, down in Sector 3. Oh, Pierre Gasly out of the Canadian Grand Prix there. The only man who was looking to be keeping up with the Mercs at the start of this race. Pierre Gasly missed out on the win last time out, and it just gets worse and worse. For the AlphaTauri man at the moment, there is first DNF of the season, and surely that is not good for AlphaTauri in future races as well there. But yeah, heartbreak for Pierre, as we've got a few more guys into the pit lane here. We're not going to be far off behind Perez and Lewis Hamilton in this Grand Prix, so I think, yeah, if we can keep these mediums in good nick, try and get them to, what, lap 18, we might actually still be in pretty good shape here. Start lap 10 then here in the Canadian Grand Prix, and we're now all over the back of Perez and Albon there, as they're both a little bit early on the brakes through the final corner there. Come on, I've got to find where the ERS button is, and now once again we're not in last place here in this Grand Prix, which is good. Where are we ahead of Verstappen? Yeah, we're actually ahead of our teammate Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz here. We've actually come out in quite a big little battle pack at the moment. Perez and Charles Leclerc going side by side. Oh, Leclerc really did sit on the exit there, as I think Sainz now thought about trying to get a run on us. Luckily we should just... oh my god, Carlos Sainz just running into the back of me in through the next corner there. I didn't think we were early on the brakes by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, Max Verstappen's still behind us on another set of the soft compound tyres here, so not quite sure what the team are doing with his strategy at the moment. But for us, we need to try and keep moving through traffic at the moment. It's all Charles Leclerc there, very, very slow on the entry. We've just got a big old train of cars now, Constantina and up, and I think if anything, this is really helping Mercedes and George Russell out at the front of the field there, because he's still on his mediums from the start, and he is just romping away in the clear air. Even more cars, though, into the pit lane as we try and just keep it nice and tidy through the final couple of corners. We should be, we're pretty close to the top 10 once more. It's all Charles Leclerc. Again, I feel pretty brave on the brakes, which you've kind of got to around this circuit if you want to make up moves. There's all Verstappen now all over the back of us. We might have to play the teammate card here and just let him by, because he's on a much quicker tyre, and we are on differing strategies here. There we go. I don't think I'm going to get much say on it. Max Verstappen gets tremendous traction out of the next chicane there as all. He does give us the room, and we do just about hold on to it in the end. I thought it was going to be a whole lot more forceful with that one. Again, he gets a big run on us. We go to the inside in towards the hairpin. So yeah, this isn't quite what I had in mind at the moment with our teammate Max Verstappen here, but we do hold on to the position once again there. Again, he's going to get a good run on us. We've not even got the DRS off Charles Leclerc somehow as we head out of the next corner there. And again, we just about slotted in front of our teammate. We got another car into the pit lane. And again, I do not want to be fighting our teammate Max Verstappen too much in this Grand Prix. He's not someone that it's worth battling with at the moment. Like I said, we're on very, very different race strategies here. But up into 11th now, one place outside the top 10. Hopefully soon we can look past Charles Leclerc or let Max by and hope we can work together. There we go, Max Verstappen, another big run. And Max Verstappen again, not going for the move. If you want to get past us, mate, just do it. Send it. I don't mind. As long as you give us some room on the exits of the corners there. But yeah, we have once now got the DRS on Charles Leclerc again. But yeah, very, very weird race so far. George Russell now into the pit lane then. It's going to be interesting to see where he re-emerges in this Grand Prix. We've got a Ferrari leading. Don't say that all too often in this series. George Russell, I think, is just about going to come out head still at the front of this field. So good for him, but not good for us, as we are still, Max Verstappen and me, battling for P11 and 12 in this Grand Prix. Oh, how times change rather quickly in the world of F1. Trying to just get a run on Charles Leclerc at the moment is proving very, very difficult, as everyone's still going side by side there. Not too sure who that is. Hamilton and no, not Ricciardo, of course. Raikkonen even. Oh, there's a lot of barging around going on there. I think Kvyat just took a swipe at Sergio Perez as we head down in towards turn 1. There's maybe some places to be had. Look at that, round the outside of two cars we go through the first corner there. And can we get the run on the exit? We're still 3 wide. As we head in towards the next chicane there, it's all getting a little bit Constantina-y up there, but we have somehow gone round the outside of 2 cars in towards the second chicane there. No idea how we've pulled that off. Danny Kvyat's probably very, very gutted with that one to go so far backwards in that little hustle. But yeah, up into P9 of the Grand Prix, a bit out of nowhere there. And that has definitely been the run we needed past Charles Leclerc. Now we need to try and get a big run on Kimi Raikkonen as we head out onto the back straightaway. The Renault car, yeah, really not quite what it was last year there, as Ocon has peeled into the pit lane, so Raikkonen is going to stay out for another lap. You can see just how much we gain through that final chicane there. Try and get a good run out of the final turn. ERS, rich revs, everything like that. Up the inside in towards turn 1. Oh, very, very deep on the way in there. It was a bit of a sketchy rejoin on the circuit. I'm sure Raikkonen won't be too pleased with that one as we get a warning for a collision with the Finn, but we're now up into 6th place here. Yeah, very, very risky moves coming in, but we have pulled it off. Next up then, Sergio Perez already 3 seconds up the road with Hamilton. heading on to lap 18 then, about to cross over the halfway stage of this Grand Prix, and there we go. The team's saying now is the time to come in for our second and hopefully last pit stop of the day. The wear numbers are looking pretty good on the rubber, about 45% on the rears, 35% on the fronts, but yeah, they're definitely feeling a little bit more slippery than that, as the gap to Hamilton and Perez very much stayed even, but they are on much fresher rubber than me, so we'll wait and see. But yeah, probably going to pit end of maybe this one, maybe the next. I'll see how I feel. Yeah, end of lap 18, we may as well dive it in now. It's still actually, look at that, Lance Stroll by the looks of it, battling out with the Mercedes at the front of the field there, so that's quite good to see for the Canadian in his home Grand Prix. We're going to dive it in nice and tidy into the pit lane then. No point taking any risks on the way in, and hopefully we'll come out in some clear air. I reckon we'll be coming out between sort of the Alfa Romeo and the back two. I'm not 100% sure. I'll wait and find out in just a moment. 2.3 second stop is not too shabby at all. We need to try and ideally get in front of all this group of cars though. Heading back out of the pit lane, avoid wheel spin. And yeah, we are going to come out right in this train there. Nice big double lock-up in towards turn 1. But we just slot in between Norris and Giovinazzi. And yeah, like I said, now we're going to have to try and really pick our way through these cars. Tell you what, McLaren have not had a good weekend of it either at the moment. Sat down in P14 and P20 is all, look at that, up the inside of Lando Norris. We go through the hairpin. Maybe that P15. And sorry, P21 even, I should say. It's all Max Verstappen into the pits, only a lap after us. So interesting to see from our teammate there what his strategy is. I'm guessing he's going to go mediums to the end, just like ourselves. A bit worried about what the Haas are going to be like in towards the final corner. But can we try and get a good run down in towards turn 1? Do the same sort of move we did on Raikkonen up the inside of K-Mag, and that was a whole lot better. A wonderful little dive bomb, if I do say so myself, as Nick de Vries now just one place outside the points. Hopefully we can try and get a good run here on Nick de Vries down in towards the hairpin. Up the inside we go. So much braver on the brakes than the likes of the Haas car there. And now we move Nick de Vries back down to 2 places outside of the top 10. Jordan King a second at the road as well there, but yeah, he might be the last person we have to deal with for a few laps. Alright, Jordan King. Hopefully this isn't going to be a battle of the ages between us and our former teammate there. He does try to give us a big old squeeze, but yeah, look at the overspeed. We've gotten him comfortably in front before the next corner there. So back up into the points once more. And now, yeah, I think we've got a few laps, hopefully, where we can just breathe a bit. Saying that, one of the Mercedes has dived into the pit lane, but they still will probably come out comfortably in front of us. We've got actually a few cars into the pit lane, so we're going to get back ahead of Daniel Kvyat here. And how far is the gap going to be to Perez and Hamilton just in front of us? Obviously, it was about 3.5 before we pit to Perez. We've taken about a second out of them, but the tyre advantage they've had is going to be a whole lot less this second stint. So maybe, just maybe, we can still try and get back past the Red Bull and Racing Point. We go even more cars into the pit lane, so I think everyone just trying to get onto these mediums to go to the end. So it's going to mean, new fast lap of the Grand Prix, bit out of nowhere there, by half a tenth over our personal best. And yeah, just now ahead of Charles Leclerc as well. Leaves us P8. We've got a big gaggle of cars pretty much running up now, I think, towards the podium in this Grand Prix there, as we almost completely skate into the back of Perez through the hairpin. Obviously a former race winner of this Canadian Grand Prix, Sergio Perez, if you remember all the way back to, I think it must have been season 2 of this series. But yeah, you can see, perhaps, I said early on how the podium streak was definitely going to die this weekend. I think if we get incredibly lucky, we could still sneak our way through, but yeah, again, that's going to require a whole lot of optimism. We will not be pitting at the end of this lap, ignore that. We will, however, try to look around the outside of Perez through turn 2, but not quite able to get the traction off the exit. Hey, I really do like to sit on the exit of the hairpin. They're very, very slow all the way through, and can we now get a run on Sergio Perez? We need a 9th gear in this car at the moment as well. Look at that, just again, a good 20-30 metres early on the brakes there from most of the AIs. I think they're all just a bit worried about Constantina enough. Can we get a run on Perez down in towards turn 1? Up the inside we go. Try to take him by surprise there. Is all Guan Yu Zhou sitting on the apex as well up in front. We'll try and get a good run on Hamilton on the exit of the corner there. That's one move made. It's about to be 2. As we go for quite possibly the most aggressive move I've ever pulled off on F1 2020 without any contact there, completely leaving Hamilton out to dry. But we have to take those opportunities at the moment. And I'm sure, yeah, our former teammate, we might have just been taken off his Christmas card list. Now we've got Guan Yu Zhou on his dead set of hard tyres in his Ferrari. Surely this was going to be a fairly textbook move around the outside. Yeah, slipstream, not quite the same sort of dramatics there, but 3 places in a single lap in this Canadian Grand Prix there. We've got Bottas now just in front of us as we head out of the final corner here. We've run out of ERS though that time around. Maybe the podium is still on, as I think we've got Ocon up in P3 at the moment, having a much better day than his teammate Raikkonen. Yeah, perhaps this stream isn't dead just yet. I think at the moment we are one of the quickest cars on circuit still, but I think what's even more key is trying to get around cars before they get the DRS of the next car in front of me. See, Bottas just hasn't quite got the DRS on Esteban Ocon here. He's going to go defensive on us in towards the final chicane. Who is going to come out on top in this situation? We are once more, as we go around the outside of Valtteri Bottas there in towards the final chicane. Another daring move. But now we've got Esteban Ocon, sorry, I should say, in front of us on the hard tyres, trying to drag his car to the end of the Grand Prix. 4 cars from 4 different teams inside the top 4 at the moment. Stroll, though, certainly my driver of the day at the moment, his home race. Lap 29, surely, again, this is going to be a pretty textbook move on Esteban Ocon here. Not in a particularly quick Renault car at the moment. He's done a miracle to get it as high up the order as he has done so far in this race, but down around the outside in towards the final chicane once more, and again around the outside of another car there, and we're now up into the podium places with 6 laps to go here from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. I cannot honestly say I was expecting we get anywhere near here again towards the end of this race, but we've had a really good strategy. We've been really, really quick as well, and we've made some decisive moves along the way. Hopefully we can just get this thing to the end now and pick up more champagne. 1 lap to go then here from the Canadian Grand Prix, and I think it has all gone wrong for Esteban Ocon here right in the dying stages from Canada. I've just heard news over the radio that Ocon has got issues in that Renault, so it's been a valiant effort, but I think he's going to fall back in the final stages of this Grand Prix there. But on to the final lap we go though. What a race it has been from George Russell, and especially Lance Stroll. Like I said, yeah, definitely my driver of the day in this one there. A fantastic job done by the Canadian. He's not even, I think, over the last few laps, he's actually taken time out of George Russell. So at the moment, I'm pretty certain Lance Stroll is the quickest man on this race circuit, in his home Grand Prix nonetheless, and in a car that generally this season hasn't been particularly brilliant as well there. So fair play to Lance Stroll. Perhaps Racing Point are making a bit of a resurgence as well at the moment. But in towards the final chicane though for George Russell, it's going to look pretty simple at the end of the day, despite being under a little bit of pressure from the Canadian there. It is going to be George Russell, pole position and the race victory there. 25 points on the board for him in his 2nd race win of the World Championship. But yeah, we had a good qualifying up in P6. We got moved up to P5 after Max Verstappen's penalties, completely dropped to the rear of the field at the end of lap 1. But we come through to continue the podium streak. It's P3 here in Canada.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Mr. Monaco increases their championship lead. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
But there's no question in my mind, it has to go to George Russell. What a performance. He's got every right to be proud of what he accomplished out there today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. There was also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today as they make their way up the standings. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Canadian Grand Prix. And George Russell, yeah, like I said, pole position, race victory, 25 points on the board. Mercedes, are they back well and truly now in this career mode there? Lance Stroll, though, again, yeah, my driver of the day, 3 seconds off George Russell in the end there in his home Grand Prix. A fantastic job done by the Racing Point man. And yeah, I think if you'd said to me at the end of lap 1 we would have still got a podium out, I would have just guessed that there obviously would have been a safety car intervention in that one there. But considering, yeah, we got the podium and we were still 5 seconds clear of Valtteri Bottas in that second Mercedes car as well there. Very, very happy with that one at the end of the day there. Charles Leclerc, Hamilton, Kvyat, Ocon, Verstappen and Guan Yu Zhou round out your top 10 there. Yeah, Ocon, 5 laps from home was in P4 there and drops all, well, 2 laps from home was in P4 and dropped all the way down to 8th place there. Only just beating our teammate Max Verstappen in the end there. You can see the rest of the order there. Perez, a bit of a gutting result on the 3-stop in the end, unfortunately, down in 12th place there. And yeah, you can see the rest of your order there. Sainz in last, and Pierre Gasly not making it to the end of the Grand Prix there. The only man to DNF means championship-wise, we do further extend our lead at the top. 58 points now, the gap to our teammate Max Verstappen there, as George Russell now gets the jump on Pierre Gasly into P3, 96 to 90 points there. Albon is still somehow sat P5 at the moment. They're ahead of Esteban Ocon there. Stroll with that big points haul moves himself up into 7th place, tied with Danny Kvyat there. Bottas in 9th, Perez relegated down to 10th there, and Lando Norris outside the top 10 now, joined with Charles Leclerc there. You can see the rest of the order. A couple of other switches. Hamilton gets past Sainz, Magnussen gets past Matsushita on countback, and then King on Nick de Vries as well on countback there. And constructors-wise, 182 the gap as Mercedes and AlphaTauri tied now for P2 there. Red Bull, Racing Point tied for P4 as well. So yeah, a lot of battles going on at this stage of the World Championship there. McLaren get bumped all the way down to 6th place. They're still ahead of Ferrari and Renault there. And yeah, Renault on 50 points. Williams on 1 just behind him. Really goes to show how, you know, that midfield battle is incredibly strong at the moment. But yeah, Williams, Alfa Romeo, and Haas, no chance at the moment, unfortunately, still. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, we will be back very, very soon. With round 10 of the season, we head to the French Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.